Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm David Brody. Thanks for joining us. This morning, we invite you to join the conversation. Getter, Rumble, YouTube, we're in the chat. All right, time now to take the political pulse of America. The beat today, the conservative civil war, in a way. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson under fire after an interview with controversial commentator Nick Fuentes, who has slammed both MAGA and the conservative movement at large of being in the pocket of Israel. And he's praised dictators like Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. In short, let's be honest, the guy's an anti-Semite. The president of the huge conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation, that'd be Kevin Roberts, initially defended the interview, but quickly walked it back after internal uproar and resignations. The fallout continued when you had Republican figures like Florida Congressman Randy Fine, you had commentator Ben Shapiro, there were countless others, calling Carlson's interview dangerous and cowardly. Carlson supporters argue that, look, the establishment is using the Israel debate as a weapon to purge dissenting voices from the right, with the former Fox host saying this isn't about one interview, it's really about what happens after Donald Trump. All right, for more, let's welcome to American Sunrise the president and founder of Proactive Strategies. That would be our good friend, Mark Serrano. Mark, good to have you this morning. So, where do you stand on this? And I'm going to be clear. Here's where I stand. Tucker Carlson hardly challenged Fuentes on any of his crazy, hateful, anti-Semitic rhetoric. And that's obviously a huge problem because Tucker is very influential. And his relative silence, Mark, was just despicable. Quite frankly, if any of this anti-Semitism takes root in the GOP, the party is doomed. Curious to get your take.
Good morning, David. And that's exactly where I expected you to land on this. And I respect your view on it for sure. Look, there are those who will say that giving a platform to an anti-Semite is against our principles. There are those who will say, well, actually, the First Amendment doesn't come with exceptions. So conservative principles dictate that we should not block anybody. Look, we're only 10 months past the censorship industrial complex from the Biden regime. And that was where it was dictated by bureaucrats in the deep state and the DC elites who gets a platform and who doesn't, including the president of the United States. And here's the other irony in all this is I think something insidious is at play, because every time someone like Tucker Carlson does something like this, the media rush to other Republicans to hold them accountable for the actions of another conservative or Republican. And the Republicans, every time, David, take the bait. Unfortunately, Kevin Roberts took the bait, and then he had to back it up because of pressure, and it's this crossfire of pressure that he's under. The reality is, I would rather focus more on not deplatforming dissenting voices, but action. Donald Trump has done more than anyone in history to fight anti-Semitism in America by holding elitist universities accountable. And he's brought peace to the Middle East, by the way, in support of Israel. That is real action. Well, and I think action is far more powerful than anybody's words and any platform that a hostile anti-Semite might leverage and exploit.
Well, I agree with you. I'm sorry, real quick as a follow-up, guys. I agree with you, obviously, with President Trump and the anti-Semitism stuff, but that's not really what we're talking about in terms of Tucker Carlson. I mean, on Tucker Carlson, no one's saying that he should not have Fuentes on the show. You can have Fuentes on the show. I'm all for free speech. I'm not saying deplatform the guy. That's not what I'm saying at all. Have him on your show. And then maybe, I don't know, ask a few tough questions. He didn't ask one. He didn't ask one. Yeah. And when you're Tucker Carlson, the problem is he's not Joe Schmo. That's the problem here, Mark. He's Tucker Carlson, and his words matter, and his silence matters. And when you're not going to challenge Nick Fuentes on all of the hateful stuff that he has said, put him on. I'm not saying don't put him on. That's not what I'm saying. But you got to challenge him, and he didn't do it, and that gives rise to people like that.
Right. And Tucker Carlson's response to that criticism was, buzz off. This is my show. Get your own show. I'd like for Nick Fuentes to be interviewed by you, David. That would be holding accountability to an anti-Semite.
Thank you.
And in the absence of that accountability, it's incumbent on networks like ours and reporters like us to also question and to also put in those challenges. We will move on to the next thing, though, because we could be on this for the next 30 minutes or so. So, Mark, I really want to turn your attention to Vice President J.D. Vance's takeaways on the elections this week, on Tuesday specifically. In a post on X, the vice president saying that it's, quote, idiotic to overreact to a couple of elections in blue states, referring to Democrat victories in New Jersey, New York City. Also, Virginia's not necessarily Democratic anymore. He ultimately outlined several steps that the GOP needs to take to maintain momentum in the coming years, including boosting voter registration, focusing on the economy at home, and then, of course, ending divisive infighting like what we were just talking about. Your thoughts on what the vice president had to say, and what is the path forward, specifically looking forward to next year's midterms? Let's just be honest. That's the big goal.
This is a great comment from J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance understands intrinsically that winning elections is about addition, not subtraction. That the best way for us to focus is, we can win arguments all day long, but winning elections is about appealing to people on what unites us. What unites us as Americans are really two things that we should focus on. One is restoring our individual liberties, and two is economic populism. We need to continue to support the president and his policies that provides economic opportunity across demographics in America. On election day, the MAGA did not turn out. Why? Because Donald Trump wasn't on the ballot, but also because we didn't have a message of economic populism to counter socialists like Mamdani or in Virginia and New Jersey. J.D. Vance got it right. We've got to appeal to everyone on what most commonly unites us, which to me is economics. Let's give opportunity across the board. And Donald Trump's tax cuts, by the way, will do that within months. We're going to see GDP at 5%. And the Democrats' biggest problem for us is going to be prosperity, but we've got to make sure it's all the way across the board.
All right, Mark, turning our attention now to the Big Apple and the fallout from the election of Zoran Mamdani as mayor. Just hours after that election was called, New York City Fire Department Commissioner Robert Tucker submitted his resignation. The department didn't immediately report his reasoning, but his exit comes as Mamdani critics say he has failed to adequately condemn antisemitism. Mark, can we expect more of an exodus from New York City?
Well, I'll tell you what, any leader in New York City, such as Robert Tucker, who I believe is Jewish, better get out while the getting's good. I think Robert Tucker is a very smart guy and made a great career move because he got out before he could get fired by the virulent anti-Semite Mamdani. Look, this guy is going to bring wreckage to New York City. He's going to destroy the culture. In his victory speech, which was very harsh and angry, he appealed to Jews, but I don't think people like Robert Tucker believed it for a minute. Tucker comes from the private sector. He was actually not a firefighter. He's in the security industry. He's returning to the security industry. And look, hats off to him. He's a smart guy. He got out with really good timing before he's swimming in a toxic cesspool of anti-Semitism and DEI and economic calamity.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, before we let you go, the shutdown, curious to get your take of how this ends. Do you think it'll end by the time you retire at the age of 94? That's really a question.
My prediction is the shutdown will end the day before Thanksgiving because no one in America will be paying attention heading into Thanksgiving Day. And that way the Democrats just tuck their tail between their legs and hide at what they've done to destroy America over several weeks, because it's all about blocking Trump and the America First agenda.
Absolutely. And by the way, Chuck Schumer helped us design that graphic. We thank you, Chuck, for doing that. Chuck Schumer shut down.
Thank you, Chuck.
Hey, Mark, great to have you. As always, thank you, brother.
Thanks, team. Have a great day.
You
Thanks
too,
so
Mark.
much, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. The tax extension deadline, it may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the October 15th deadline or you owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Oh, that's not good. Anytime you hear IRS ramping up enforcement, not good. Excuse me. I'm all choked up emotionally. Every day you waiting, what am I trying to say, only makes things worse. So here's the harsh reality. The IRS can charge a penalty of 5% per month. That's up to 25% of your total tax bill just for not filing. That's in addition to what you already owe. Here's some good news. There's still time for Tax Network USA to help. Self-employed, or you a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they've got you covered. Tax Network USA specializes in resolving financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. They've got tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments. The IRS is applying pressure at levels that we haven't seen in years, so many great years. It's not too late to regain control. Your consultation, by the way, 100% free. In one short call and a few simple questions, the experts at Tax Network USA can determine how much you can save. So here's what you do. You call 1-800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV. Got to remember the /RAV part. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move. Ooh, ominous music. Q. Still to come on American Sunrise. New York City has elected its first anti-Zionist mayor. We've talked about soon-to-be mayor-elect Mamdani. By the way, the nation's largest Jewish community is in New York, and it's on edge. Why his win is being called a political earthquake, and what it could mean for the city's future. That's next. After the break, everybody.